The league season is over.
It feels deflating, but it also feels so obvious as well. We all saw it coming, let's be honest.
And if you're thinking, well, where do we go from here? The answer is nowhere.
It looked a mess, and it played like a mess. And he was honking last night. I'm not going to dress that up. He was absolutely shocking last night. If you wanted something to sum up the season, if you wanted a passage of play that sums up where we are as a club right now, go and watch them 7 minutes of injury time. But there is a lot of, let's go with questioning Jack Wilshere, whether he's the man or not. There's growing concern that he's not the answer as well, but I don't think he's the problem.
Football is full of delusion. And to a certain degree, I understand it. If you're a player or a manager, you have to be optimistic. But that's not the experience that we're having at the moment.
There's not an indication that he knows what to do to change this away from home. But the fans that are paying their money to watch this football team week in, week out are disconnected from the very people that they were connected to for so long on the way up and during that Premier League season. Now, whether they want to listen to it or not, I'm telling you, it is there. Just for a disclaimer, I was more than happy to come on this podcast and talk about chocolate, but we couldn't get no chocolate. It was deja vu for the town as we slipped to a 1-0 defeat at Wigan Athletic on Wednesday night, and alongside me to very quickly look back on that and look ahead to the Burton Albion game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, it might have been Ash Wednesday, and if our players are observing Lent, they've certainly not given up losing away games.
Given up? I think many out there have.
Sadly, that is the case, yes. We'll look at it all right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast. Once again, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As you heard me say before we played the intro, we're looking back on another night to forget for the town as we lost 1-0 at Wigan Athletic, and we will look ahead to the Burton game all in the one podcast. Because obviously time is pretty short this week. Jimbo's alongside me as ever. And, well, I was going to say I gave my thoughts on it in the instant reaction, Jimbo, but I didn't really.
You saved me some editing, that's what you did. But I think we all got the picture.
Yeah, I think every one of the 610 that was at the Brick Community Stadium last night certainly had a similar vibe, really. I don't know, really. I mean, I'm knackered. I didn't get back till the early hours of the morning, Jimbo, so maybe, I don't know, maybe that's still contributing to my mood, but it just feels it feels deflating, but it also feels so obvious as well. We all saw it coming, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, it feels like that because of everything we talked about in the build-up, that, it was a must-win game, no excuses. And from that must-win game, they went and lost it. And they lost it to a player that we discarded a year ago. Surplus to requirements. How many times has that happened? We thought 9-point run, this had to be 3 games against 3 teams towards the bottom. And we've gone and got none from the first one. So we can't hide from the fact that all those things we said in the build-up were what we believed. And I don't think that that's changed. So the league season is over.
It is, yeah. And here we are on February the 19th, and we're saying that. Not March the 19th, not April the 19th, February the 19th. And, there are people who are still out there saying we're in a relegation battle. We're not in a relegation battle. This is now 14 dead rubbers that we're going to play out and play the season out. The season is Tuesday, hopefully next Wednesday. and then hopefully a date in April. Otherwise, that's it. It was a must-win game. And we're not going to go through the whole game. If you wanted to watch the game, you watched it on television last night. If you didn't want to watch the game, you don't need us to talk it all the way through. We'll discuss the fallout and a few bits that really irked everyone. Optimism was even higher because of the results on Tuesday night. And Jack spoke before the game about the opportunity being created. They all supposedly sat and watched the results come in and knew the opportunity that had been created. At the time of kickoff yesterday, if Luton Town won out, they would guarantee to be in the playoffs because we were 4 points behind Huddersfield with 2 games in hand of them. Win them both, keep on winning, and you stay ahead of Huddersfield. There wasn't a minute of that football match last night that I thought Luton were winning. From the first whistle to the last whistle, and there were plenty of whistles in between, every single whistle in between, there wasn't one of them where I thought Luton are going to win this game.
Yeah, well, that's the sad thing. That's the frustrating and annoying thing. This is a team, Wigan, that had not won on their own patch since early December. Sacked a new manager, got a new manager. On Monday, we all feared the new manager bounce. And when there's something like that on the table, Luton just give it to the opposition. When there's a player that needs a goal, he scores. When there's a team that needs a result, they get it. And it's, we've been saying this all season. There were some bright spots, or what we thought were bright spots, and some people won't allow us those moments of joy. And God knows we need them, but the overall picture is that Luton are a mid-table team in the 3rd tier. And if you're thinking, well, where do we go from here? The answer is nowhere. Because you're not going up unless there's a dramatic shift in the results. And I don't think we're going down either. So we're going nowhere. We're going to stay pretty much where we are. Maybe move up a place, maybe move down a place. And, that defeats the whole object of the season, which was to get promotion. First, it was automatic. Well, that slipped away a long time ago. And then the playoffs, we've never even been able to even sneak in, not for a second. So, if you want to know where we're going, that's where we're going, nowhere.
No, we're not. We're not going anywhere, and obviously someone needs to be held accountable for all of this. And, well, plenty of you out there are suggesting that it should be Jack. We'll come on to that in a minute. But one thing that Jack is doing is he's growing the evidence to strengthen those people's claims that he isn't the man for the job. Team sheet. To be fair, he tried something different. 4-4-2, as Mike Bassett would say. I think most people saw that team sheet. I thought, what the hell have we done 4 hours on the road to watch this for? Joe Johnson really that bad on Saturday? Was Gideon Kodja really that bad on Saturday? Those 2 midfielders, they ever convinced anyone they're going to go up against 3 and come out on top? Was that front 2 really that good on Saturday? It looked a mess. And it played like a mess.
Yeah, well, I wanted 2 strikers to see what that was. So that part of it, fine. But the one that baffled me the most was leaving Kodja out. He's a top goal scorer. Yeah, he's not scored for a couple of games, but he's the only one with 10 double figures. He's the only one that can, or has shown the ability to score late goals. To leave him off the pitch, it just doesn't make any sense to me. He might, he didn't have a very good game against Cardiff, and he got brought off. But is he the one that needs to be made an example of? I mean, I'm not saying that was the case, but you can make your own deductions. The 2 strikers, Ali Al-Hamadi, that was his first start. Devante Cole hasn't scored yet. Neither of them have scored yet. So you leave off top scorer. We need to win. We need to win. It doesn't make any sense. And that team selection, left a lot to be desired.
Can I tell you what else doesn't make any sense, Jimbo? Tomorrow, or today, by the time you listen to this, will be 3 weeks to the day that you were moved press conferences to the club HQ where Jack sat in front of you and boldly spoke about Izzy Jones being his right back. He has played in every game of football since then. He has yet to play a single minute at right back. That doesn't make sense, because I'm going to try and be kind. I'm trying not to get angry, because this lot aren't worth getting angry over. But you just spoke then about people being made examples of, and I think in the stands that's exactly what people think happened with Joe Johnson and Gideon Kodji yesterday. Well, I'm sorry, but and yes, a little bit of slack is given because Nigel Longwake is playing out of position, but he might look like Virgil van Dijk, but he plays like Virgil from the Thunderbirds in these last two games. And he was honking last night. I'm not going to dress that up. He was absolutely shocking last night. Now, this guy supposedly contracted to a Premier League football club. I wouldn't contract him to my Sunday League team on the evidence of those last two performances. If I'm taking someone out of that team from Saturday, it ain't Kodji and Johnson before him. It ain't. Now, if Izzy Jones is your right back, and we can debate whether he's your right back or not, but he went in front of a camera, went in front of you journalists, and he said right down on all of your faces, Izzy Jones is my right back.
Yeah, I was there. He said that, and even before the last two games, I'd have expected that to happen anyway, for Longwake to come out. I mean, there's a case you could say that he kept him in for the home games when we were doing all right. When it starts to go wrong, and other players have come out, presumably for the parts that they've played in those performances, then why he's not playing right back in that game is beyond me. Because there's absolutely nothing going forward with Longwake, and when he tries it, his passes were nowhere near. In fact, everybody's passes were absolutely shocking in that game. Couldn't pass it to each other, couldn't pass it in the right spaces in front of each other, so everyone had to check, couldn't trap the ball. All the basics, they just weren't there. That's almost the thing that frustrates me the most, really. How that they can't do that. When we praised them to the hilt for the Bradford game, when they played on the worst Kenilworth Road surface of the season because of the weather. And they were fantastic in that game. Passing was all awesome, like crisp. And it was nowhere to be seen in that game. And that's not good enough.
On the bright side, Jimbo, we got spoiled. We had 2 shots on target last night. Digest.
Yeah. Well, you had to wait till the last action of the game for 4 of them.
I told you not to get me started on injury time. Listen, the first shot on target was a free kick, inches away from being a penalty. Maybe we were better off with it being a free kick because Palmer nearly scored the free kick, and I'm convinced that these penalties are going to get saved if any more of them come along. And then, we had to wait till injury time for the other one. So here's some more concerns. Again, we're not going to go through minute details of these games. When was the last time Luton started a second half on par with the opposition, Jimbo?
I can't remember.
Because we definitely didn't do it last night.
Can't remember.
You could
even when we did play well against Bradford, they were better than us to start. Yeah. I don't know. Therefore, what is said and what the instructions are, or why that keeps happening, but it keeps happening.
It's every second half. Go back to when he sat in front of you. The very first time, I think it was, he sat in front of you. He wants to be the fittest team in the league. Well, that objective's a million miles away. In fact, half of this lot don't look like they could do 45 minutes, let alone 95.
Yeah, he did say that. It doesn't seem to have come to fruition, does it? Because they're not running through brick walls in the way that fans want. I mean, if they're
not running, Jimbo.
If they did any of, I mean, if they did that, if they, the results are bad, but I think there'd be an element of forgiveness if they did that. But it's so laboured, and this sideways and backward stuff, which you highlighted in the previous one, and I know it's become a chant, and that it's become a chant because it's an exaggerated trait of this team. They need a goal. after that 74th minute goal from Joe Taylor, need something. Just popping it around the back.
There's no urgency in this team. There's no urgency in this team whether we're 3-0 up or 3-0 down. If you didn't watch a game and it didn't have the score in the top corner of the thing, you would assume Luton are 5 up with the cigars on every single time you watch them. When we do actually get the ball for a throw-in, and it takes a million miles for either Naismith or Longwake to go and get the ball for a throw-in, their first look is backwards. And if Mads Anderson, who switched sides last night, I don't know what the whole idea of that was all about. If Mads Anderson's not on, Longwake don't know what to do with it. And if Mengi's not on, Naismith don't know what to do with it. Now, when Joe Johnson was there throwing the ball, he threw it down the line. Occasionally, we'd get the ball. Occasionally, they'd head it out and he has to do it again a little bit further up the pitch. But it's not the case with those two. How those two are our fullbacks, I have no idea. And let's come on to Naismith, because guess who originates the first goal? He's just shirked a challenge, turned his back on it, dangles a leg up, whereas the other guy wants it, and they wanted it all night. We didn't want it at all. And I'll pick apart Jack's comments in the press conference in a minute. But dangles a leg, gets beaten, doesn't even commit a high boot and foul the guy. Heads the ball on. Anderson's already on the floor because he's collapsed after heading the ball against Joe Taylor, which led to that duel that Naismith lost. That's, that word duel that we're hearing plenty of times. 5 minutes or so earlier, Costello played Taylor in, but he overhit the pass and narrowed the angle so that Keeley could save it. We've had the bloody warning sign of what was to follow, and still no one gets anywhere near Costello. Still no one goes with Taylor. And he ain't missing once he's through with the ball at his feet. The one thing you do know about the guy, he might have attitude problems, but the one thing you know about the guy is he can finish. He showed that at Wembley.
Oh yeah, the moment he got in for that third one, which wasn't an acute angle, I didn't see anything else but a goal. It's just the fact that you've got 25 minutes after that, 15 minutes, sorry, 25 if you had the injury time, to do something about it. And it showed nothing of the sorts, nothing of it.
Now, if we're making examples of people, that entire back four on Saturday, that entire back four yesterday cannot play on Saturday. You, me, and a couple of others can't do no worse than that back four yesterday. I'll take you into injury time, Jimbo. But before we get into injury time, 83rd minute, our top scorer finally went on the pitch. Now, Jack's spoken about, they scored, so we left it for 5 minutes because we thought they'd sit back. He scored in the 73rd minute, right? Why the F is our top scorer not on the pitch before the 73rd minute, when we had created the square root of, at this point, one direct free kick as a shot on target? Why is he still sat there? And then he gets them all changed. They're all ready to come on a freezing cold night, and all they do for 10 minutes is catch pneumonia like the rest of us. His in-game tactics, and I mentioned this at Huddersfield 3 weeks ago, where it was absolutely ludicrous that night how long the substitutions took. His in-game tactics have to be an awful lot smarter than what they are. Otherwise, the evidence and the support of the people that are against him is only going to grow from here.
My instinct would be there to make changes. This is only sort of an early work in theory on some of these things, is that, he spent all of his career around elite football. Even Arsenal, when they weren't that great, for a good many years, actually, they could still bring off world-class players, bring them on, and they might be able to do something. Well, that's not the case here. We haven't got those players. We've got Kodjo, who's got a lot of late goals. So maybe, you could think about it there. But this Luton side, if the away form hasn't taught you anything of not being able to create chances, is that even when we get them, we ain't taking them. So that you can't wait for that one moment of actual pure world-class quality or even top draw quality. They're just not there. It has to be a numbers game. You have to batter them and hope something goes in. And we're not even doing that. So I just wonder whether that elite upbringing isn't translating to this division.
Yeah, you could be right. I mean, to be fair to Jack, he stands there with his hands in his pockets, doesn't he, all the time in these away games. I mean, I've only watched the extended highlights. which are about 10 minutes long, and I didn't want to watch them, but I just wanted to make sure that what I saw was what I saw. And they panned, in these highlights, they panned to him 3 times, and he stood with his hands in his pockets and a bemused look on his face on all 3 occasions. I can only assume he's looking there bemused with his hands in his pockets because he can't believe what he's watching. And to be fair, Jack, I would have been with you had we not have had 18 months of this nonsense, because 15 months ago I was probably you. Surely you've worked it out by now. You've been here 4 months. This team, it's got nothing about it away from home.
Well, here's one of the other things I was noticing, quite maddening. That's a word, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Well, it is now.
It is now.
Maddening. Going all the way around the country, 1,950 miles we're now at for 1 penalty in 2026.
Well, yes, that, but the other maddening thing is that a team like Wigan, who was desperately out of sorts until we, gave them a leg up, all game, if they cleared the ball, it went to a blue shirt. Well, we cleared the ball, it goes to a blue shirt. Like frequently, I don't know how it's possible for that to be such a. These are the basics, aren't they? These are the basics that we're getting wrong that got them on the front foot, as well as can't pass, can't control the ball, can't drive forward with it. But second balls all over the park, they got them. And yeah, you could say they wanted it more. I don't disagree, which is a problem in itself. But there's far too much of that. You see it so much.
Who was the last team we played who didn't want it more?
Yeah, pass. Which ironically is not what happened. It's not what they're doing.
Well, they did lots of passing, Jimbo.
They pass it to them.
Like I said, middle of the stands. I mean, if you wanted something that summed up last night, Jordan Clark's corner in the second half was it. I don't know where it landed, but I'm not overly sure it was in the boundaries of Wigan. It's Jordan Clark.
Yeah, and those things as well. Because we're not creating enough chances, we're not going forward enough, we're not even winning enough set pieces that would allow us to, try and scrape through a game with those. That's not happening. These teams are so comfortable with us being slow and predictable and them sitting back. Because there's no one there that will bully anyone off the ball. No one that will. Even Shaden Morris was not even getting his head up and running to the byline. The thing that he was doing that we were so excited about when he first got here.
How many?
Look up, look back, pass back.
How many balls did he get in his stride last night?
Oh no, that's the thing. They're not playing balls into the couple of yards of space in front of players like Shaden Morris, who could take that, and all he needs is half a yard on most players, and they'll be toast. But he's having to check himself, and then they get set. They could double up. And then he's forced to look backwards. And then it all starts again. Slow, nothing.
We'll come on to Saturday's team sheet in a minute, but I think if people see Longwake's name on it, apathy will more well and truly set in. Injury time. If you wanted something to sum up the season, if you wanted a passage of play that sums up where we are as a club right now, go and watch them 7 minutes of injury time. And someone behind me was actually delighted that it was 7 minutes. I cried because I was freezing and I wanted to go home. Unless it was 7 days, there was no danger of us scoring last night. Not 7 minutes. You watch those 7 minutes of injury time. 4-ish minutes into injury time, Longwake's got the ball. Absolutely nowhere near him. To be fair to him, he's moved 5 yards for the first time in a while. Passes the ball straight into Hungbo for the 50th time in the night, and the fella only come off the bench at half-time or just before half-time. Passes the ball into Hungbo. I don't know if he thought that Hungbo was like some Halibo or something, and he'd pass it straight through it. But no. Doesn't chase the guy back. Makes a token gesture to jog. Guy, absolutely no intent to stop the cross coming in. Bearing in mind, we're 1-0 down. In a game that we must win, in a game that Jack, in a few minutes after the game, referenced that we saw an opportunity in, just jogs back, ball comes across the goal, 2 feet in front of Mads Andersen, if that. Let's be nice, a yard. But certainly nowhere that if Mads Andersen had slid in, he wouldn't have touched the football. There's a chance he might have ended up in the back of our net had he slid in and he scored an own goal, which would have been unfortunate. But he's looked, Mads Andersen. He knows there's a guy behind him. And he leaves the ball. And he hits the jackpot that Matey spoons it over the crossbar. In fact, I was nearer heading the ball than it going near the back of the net. And I was halfway up the back of the stand. Now let me send you forward 90 seconds. Finally, Luton gets some bodies in the box. Finally, our top scorer has got the ball in and around the box. And an absolute goalmouth scramble ensues. First shot, hacked off the line by a defender who throws himself in front of it. Second shot, another defender throws himself in front of it. Third shot hits Devante Cole of all people, which doesn't really help matters, but that was Vandenberg's shot. And it bounces out to, I think it was Longwake. And there's a fourth defender throwing himself in front of it to make sure the ball doesn't go in. We gave up at the other end. They threw themselves in front of everything. And I'll use the words gave up because Izzy Jones used those words on Saturday about one of the goals. That is where this team is right now. And in a few minutes after the game, Jack said these players care. Some might, Jack. I don't think they all do. They gave up last night. And that's unforgivable. And that's why they got the torrent of abuse after the game. Now, another of Jack's comments is, and it's a popular one from him, is the fans have every right to be frustrated with the results. I've said it a million times. I've said it a million and the first time, Jack. Luton fans do not give two hoots about the result, first and foremost. We did not beat Lincoln. You got applauded off with a standing ovation because we gave it everything that we had and we played some bloody good football and it was worth watching. That is what you have to deliver, first and foremost. Forget your results. Deliver us a team that we can be proud of, that always goes at the opposition, and that does not give up in the fashion that those two defenders gave up last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's words against the evidence that we're all seeing, really, isn't it? That it's very hard to argue the case for what he's saying there.
I think some players do care, Jimbo. But I don't think there's anywhere near as many as he thinks that there are. Now, bearing in mind, we're 3 weeks away from having, also in a press conference, got rid of all the dead wood. He didn't say that, but reading between the lines, that's what it was. The players that didn't want to be here, we got rid of. Well, I think a few more have come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, the transfer window was never going to solve everything. But yeah, quite possibly.
Not seeing anything itself. 3 points in 9 out of 9 since that transfer window closed.
Yeah, and two of the players that we signed on the transfer deadline day, only one of them comes off the bench for a couple of minutes here and there. The other one's not even been in the squad. So, yeah, there's what we talked about at the time, didn't we? You talked about it beforehand. You need players that are ready for League One straight away, hit the ground running, and we haven't again. We haven't.
What's the theme of the last 2 seasons? We're going to learn from our lessons? Nope. Hasn't happened. You know, to be fair, I'm not learning from my lessons because I'm still going to watch these away games, believing that at some point it's going to change. Surely at Port Vale. Surely it changes at Port Vale.
Is it?
We haven't got Andre Gray up front, mate. Where can it go wrong from there? There is a lot of... I'm trying to think of the word, Jimbo. I really should be in your profession and I'm too tired to think of it really, but there is a lot of... Let's go with questioning of Jack Wilshere, whether he's the man or not. One thing I'll say is he's not the problem. I don't think Jack's the problem. I've probably given 3 or 4 reasons in this podcast already why there's growing concern that he's not the answer as well. But I don't think he's the problem. And I don't think sacking him is the answer. Because we've just invested in his style of football in January by getting rid of all of these people who can play football. Because if they couldn't play football, they wouldn't be messing around in the Championship right now. To then do it all over again, that seems like that's going to set us back even further than where we are. So I do think that we have to stick with him. So is the answer now to go down the John Still route? You've got 12, well, he had 12, you've got 14 games now. Season's done. In these 14 games, identify the people you can go forward with, discard the ones you can't go forward with, and if there are any gaps in between, play some academy products to fill those gaps. And make sure that, like Cardiff did, on the third weekend of August, when the League One season starts next season, Luton Town are next season's Cardiff City. Because we can't get rid of Jack. We just invested too much into that.
Yeah, well, logic would tell you that that's not going to happen.
And can I just confirm, I wouldn't get rid of him. I wouldn't. I understand the concerns and the growing talk, but at some point we need to be stable. And sacking managers isn't stability.
No, it's not. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Logic would tell you that that's not going to happen, but I don't think you're going to get either of those things to your satisfaction. I don't, because football is full of delusion. I'm seeing it more and more as I get older. I might have been like drinking the Kool-Aid when I was younger. And to a certain degree, I understand it. If you're a player or a manager, you have to be optimistic. You have to think that you can go and win the next game. Or at least you have to say that publicly. But that's not the experience that we're having at the moment. So there's that word again about disconnect, I think. Because I don't think there's any dressing it up. Mathematically, we can still go up. Mathematically. Realistically, absolutely no. I think the talk still seems, well, we've got to go and win our home games. We've got to, get points at the weekend and see how it's going. I just think we've run out of games. We've run out of credit in the bank on away games. Are we going to win every single home game coming up? Probably unlikely. But are we going to pick up any points on the road? Also, probably unlikely. So it leaves us, as I said before, nowhere, where we are, which is nowhere from the ambitions that we had. But no, if they came to the conclusion that you're talking about there, well, yeah, we've got these games to set ourselves for next season. I don't think anyone would have a problem with that, but there's still a mindset that we can go up. And I don't think that's the reality people are dealing with.
Might be a mindset of it Monday to Friday, but there isn't a mindset of it at 3 p.m. on a Saturday and 7:45 on a Tuesday/Wednesday. Certainly not once we leave the boundaries of Luton Town. Well, we've got 7 home games left. Let's say we win all 7. There's about as much chance of that as there is of me dancing to the Queen. But let's say we win all 7. That takes us to 66 points. That's not getting in the playoffs. I think I'm right in saying that points-wise, the lowest number was 71 when we did those things last month. So we need to find 5 points from 7 away games. We found 1 point from the last 7 away games.
Yeah, and one midweek win in 14, stretching back to God knows when. It's just, that's atrocious. We said it all along, that the away form has to pick up. And these were the games that if it was going to happen, it was going to happen in these games. Regardless of this, we can get a new manager. I believe, from watching that game, though they wanted it more, yes, they did. They created more chances than us, yes, they did. But I think, there might have been that level of delusion there that we're going to go out to win the game. They had been very, very happy that they were a point. Very happy. And then they go and get a win out of it. And they're probably absolutely dancing in the streets of Wigan. They couldn't believe their luck, really. They deserved it. If you're a Wigan fan, you deserved it. They played better than us, and that's hard to stomach.
It is hard to stomach, yeah. At half-time, if no one in that Wigan dressing room was saying, this is here for the taking, I would be absolutely amazed. Because I went downstairs at half-time, and I was in 2 minds about going back myself. It was so cold. And I'm not one who feels the cold and, all this, that, and the other. I'm absolutely fine with it. But what was the point? I know full well, you know full well, you know full well, everyone knows full well that in the second half, it goes to you know what. At least to start off with in the second half. And then maybe at some point he wakes up and makes an earlier substitution. Not last night, but sometimes he does. But, was anyone surprised when Joe Taylor scored? Jack was, because the camera immediately panned to him and he looked shell-shocked. I have no idea why. Unless he was secretly watching the Arsenal game when they were 2-0 up at the time. I wasn't surprised. We'd had 2 warning signs.
No, because it wasn't a smash and grab from Wigan. That's the thing. It
would have been if he'd scored in the first half.
Yeah, it was coming.
But not in the second.
It was coming all day long. They didn't close off those possibilities. And the minute that he scored, and we've known this because we were talking about it in the preview, the first goal wins that game.
Mm-hmm.
So the 15 minutes after that goal were painful.
Oh, you're not wrong. They were painful. Don't think I've warmed up from them yet. Yeah, I can see the concerns with Wilshere, Jimbo. Every interview I see of him now, particularly away interviews, he looks more and more forlorn with every passing one. Bearing in mind, we've just seen 2 managers go from the highs to the forlorn. Rob Edwards went there over a sustained period of time. Matt Bloomfield got there a bit quicker, and Jack's gone from happy to forlorn in no time whatsoever. But worse still, I'm looking at him, and many others are. There's not an indication that he knows what to do to change this away from home. And that's where we're at. And something has to change. And now again, I think we've invested too much into it already in a short space of time that getting rid is the answer. And I don't know what the answer is. To be fair to him, he changed last night. He went 4-4-2. Why you'd go 4-4-2 and leave your best winger on the bench? Best two wingers on the bench? I don't know. Why you'd go 4-4-2 and you'd have a left footer on the right-hand side and a right footer on the left-hand side? I don't know.
But that's the thing, isn't it? He's changing it. So that's one thing, but it's
getting worse.
Well, the results are just seems like a finger in the air and seeing what happens rather than it knowing what happens. And so I can understand that point of view that maybe he doesn't know his best side yet. And that's a worry. But, particularly in a game that you have to go and win, play it. Surely if you played it to our strengths, whatever they are, then you have a better chance. But yeah, no, I can understand that point of view. I don't know how to fix it. I couldn't even suggest to you how to fix it.
I'm not even talking about fixing it in terms of results, Jimbo. I just want to see some shots. I just want to see a goalkeeper work. When he was the last goalkeeper who was overworked in an away game, or any game for that matter. Generally, when we shoot at home, we score. I mean, to be fair, the Bradford goalkeeper made a few saves, didn't he, at 2-0? Could have been 3, 4, 5 and 6. And obviously the Wycombe goalkeeper didn't make any, hence why we beat them 4-0. But by and large, goalkeepers, when we go away from home, can wear their shirt the following Saturday because it ain't dirty.
Mm.
And his wasn't last night, apart from the dive into the post for saving the free kick.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't at full stretch for that one either, really, was he? There's, yeah, that is obviously the main. That's the main problem, isn't it? Because you don't score.
What I'm hearing from people away from home, and someone asked me this question and I've not got the answer, and I still haven't got the answer. When was the last time we left an away game thinking we'd had a right good go? Oh, I do have the answer for you, actually. Stockport. 9 away games ago now? If you include Fleetwood, I think it's 9. If it's not, again, my head's all over the gaff. I didn't get back until the early hours of this morning. So I apologise if facts aren't exactly right, but it's in that ballpark. It's not asking too much to have a go, is it?
It's not asking too much at all. No, that's what we want to see. That's the only way you're going to get yourself out of this is to have a go. But this is what I'm struggling with. What does that mean for this team? I don't know. Do you?
Take the shackles off. If we lose 5-0, we lose 5-0. We've already done that. Go and outscore the opposition. Go right individually. And I said this in the last podcast. Individually, win your battle. Who won their battle individually last night? I mean, I gave them credit on Saturday and said 1 out of 10 did. I ain't even sure 1 out of 10 did last night.
No.
Not even sure 1 out of 10. We're only talking outfield players, of course, again, but for Josh Kearley, this is another landslide defeat. Thank God we've got him. And let's hope he wants to stay. Because he's much better than a mid-table League One goalkeeper. And he's one of the few bright spots of this season by an absolute country mile. So just beat your opponent. So we had the geezer who fouled Izzy Jones for what many thought was a penalty, but it is actually literally an inch outside the penalty box. He's on a yellow card. I think he went off just before half time, but there's still about 15 minutes. When did Izzy Jones run at him? Geezer's on a booking. Izzy Jones is quick. I'll take you back to Saturday. Mate, he got booked for bringing him down in the 18th minute for a penalty. He went off in the 60th minute and we didn't run at him again. Guy's on a yellow card. Can't foul you. If he does, he's off. Happy days. Well, not happy days because we're even worse against 10, but usually happy days. Where's the intelligence? Where's the football intelligence? You don't need your manager to tell you that. You must know in the opposite situation that if I'm on a yellow card, I've got to stand up. I can't do anything. And particularly last night, the referee gave a foul against Casey Palmer. He was a yard away from touching the bloke.
Yeah, those things I can't even begin to fathom. I mean, surely that would be
basic intelligence, no?
Yeah, wouldn't that be a case for the leadership issue where he insists they're still leaders?
We haven't got a leader.
You know, who is it then? Because you'd be telling them that, wouldn't you? You'd be rallying the troops and say, you know, everybody for the next 10 minutes, get the ball to Izzy, run at this guy. You know, and it didn't happen at all. No one was committing anyone yesterday. Shaden Morris seemed to be completely shackled. Well, his one strength is running past, knocking past the player and running past him. Didn't see that.
No, you didn't see that, but I'm going to cut him some slack because at no stage did they put the ball in front of him. So every time he's got to go back for it, the defence has got themselves set ready, hasn't it? I can only assume last night, Jimbo, that, and I said this in the preview, that I assumed that Jack would have watched Arsenal against Wigan. I can only assume he didn't. Because you know how to play against a back three. You double up out wide on their fullbacks. You turn them into a back five and you open up all of the space all across the pitch. There was no doubling up down the right side. Longwaite gets a nosebleed every time he gets to the halfway line, let alone goes past it. And Naismith's legs are long gone. They went a long time. Watching Cal Naismith now is like watching Kevin Nichols when he came back in the -30 days. His brain's still top-level footballer, but the legs and the body can't deliver what the brain wants to. You can tell that. And he needs discarding. We can't go forward with him. And if Joe Johnson's not the answer, let's try Harry Fox. Because if he's our leader, and, I don't know, maybe he just got a game because it was his birthday yesterday. If he's our leader, I would expect that challenge, ball and all, for their goal. Dangle a foot with his back turned in the hope that he gets the ball. Geezer lowered his head, won the header, and stood up and supported the attack. That's what I want to see in my leader. Get your head in where it hurts. And if I take a kick to the mouth, well, so be it, because my mate's going to score a goal. Not turn my back, dangle my leg, and I hope that I get the ball and something happens. When was the last time a Luton defender threw themselves in front of a ball like that guy on the goal line last night? That's all Luton fans are asking for, Jimbo.
Yeah.
And if it happens to yield a result, happy days. It's like hitting 777 on the fruit machine, isn't it?
Well, if we applied ourselves physically aggressively like Wigan did yesterday.
Aggressive?
Yeah.
Don't think the word's in it.
I said if.
Don't think the word's in our vocab, mate.
But if you did that, is that okay? Would you be happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that seems like basics again, doesn't
it? If I and others have made the effort to go 175 miles to watch them, the least they can do is get stuck in. Now, I won't praise them for it, because it's minimum requirement. But it's the least they can do. It's in the same way that I'm not buying all this new manager nonsense for Wigan, just because they wanted it a bit more. Should be your automatic first port of call.
Should be, but we're not. You're not seeing that. 2
shots on target against a team who 2 weeks ago conceded 6 goals at Peterborough. And that second shot on target was in the 96th minute from Kodja, who was on the pitch from the 83rd minute and still had more shots in the game than anyone else from a Luton persuasion. Start.
He's undroppable, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, it's got to be. He's got to be because he's the only player that has a shot and knows where the goal is.
Start with your strongest team, and we'll go from there. Because that ain't it. That ain't even close to it.
Yeah, and maybe this is another thing. Maybe if the mindset is that our players are good enough to beat this team, well, maybe on paper, but that's not been the reality for the most of the season. So I don't think we can think like that. I don't think we can think we've got backup options that can just come in and perform well. Because it doesn't strike me that they are.
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, sadly, yet another away game where the opposition wanted it more, weren't necessarily good, but good enough to win the game, and it's becoming a familiar theme, isn't it? 3 of you got the correct score last night. Sam H 568, Ali Diggen 2709, and John Allen 9165. Well done to you. Well done also to the Cumbrian Hatters who made the trip down from the Lake District to Wigan yesterday. Unfortunately, you weren't rewarded with any kind of performance, and also to Daz, who came overseas to watch the game as well. Likewise for you, and well, you all deserve better, as we all do, and I said I'd give you a shout out. There it is. Burton, Saturday. Positive. We're at home. Excuses. We played Wednesday, they played Tuesday. They've got a striker who's in decent form. Oh, for one of them. Just because we're at home don't mean we win this game of football.
Losing so many games away heaps all the pressure on these home games, and eventually it'll crack. And it's one thing if you're really, really confident that you can go and win all these home games. We haven't had a run like that. I don't believe that's what will happen. But these teams are, as Wigan showed, absolutely fighting for their lives. Whereas we don't seem to have that belief that we can go on a run, beat the teams necessary to crack into the top 6. And they're probably looking at that Wigan game and they've scribbled down the blueprint on the back of a fag packet. Really? I'd do that if I were them. Fight for everything and then hope to nick something. You know, like you said, they've got a striker that knows where the net is. So if they get one chance, perhaps they'll score. Whereas we've still got, we've changed our strikers. We've got new ones in. Yeah, Al-Hamidi was there all along but injured, so he's technically new. They still haven't scored. And they haven't even had a sniff, really. Have they? There was that one ball from Richards across the box that Al-Hamidi couldn't connect with. Don't remember anything else at Wigan.
Getting a defender threw himself in the way, flicked it away. It's not difficult, lads. Everyone else can do it. Surely we can too. Yeah, let's be a bit more positive then. It is a home game on Saturday, isn't it? And yeah, just for those that are asking us to talk about other things, if it all goes pear-shaped at Port Vale, I'm not doing this again. So we will talk about something different when it comes to Port Vale. But there was a bit of fallout after the game last night, weren't there? So we thought we'd cover the game. The striker I'm on about is Jake Beasley. I'd happily have him here. Leave him behind, lads. Please. I would. Wouldn't be surprised. How would I describe him? He is Tolai without the movement. Got physicality. They stick balls in the box, he'll win the headers. Of course he'll win the headers. Christ. You and I would win headers at the minute, I think. I would say we've got to stop him, but who was the last striker we stopped?
Well, no, particularly ones that have played for us, but he was linked. I mean, it got that
rubbish quickly.
It got rubbish quite quickly that there was anything in it. But, you know, perhaps you'd have seen that and you'd say, well, here we go, I'm going to prove it to you.
We scored 2 goals against Cardiff the very week after he was linked to us, didn't he? Or the very week after the transfer window closed. I can't remember what it was. That's 2 goals against Cardiff, the very team that we managed a grand total of 1 penalty on target against. So, you know, that's boding well for where we are here. I just hope we can keep him quiet. 3-4-1-2, Burton's formation. His strike partner is Tyrese Shade, who is more mobile, probably carries the ball a little bit more. I actually like him. I've seen a fair bit of Burton this season. For some reason, their games never clash with Luton games, and they always seem to be on television. Obviously, I watched their game the other night because I knew that we were scouting for this one. They beat Rotherham 1-0. You wouldn't have thought that they'd just played extra time against West Ham, by the way, because they were energetic, they were at it, they were lively, and then I saw us on Wednesday and I thought that summed it all up. So Shade it's an archetype front two, big man and little man. He's the little man who carries the ball. He's got a bit of creativity and he can shoot from outside the penalty box. So let's hope we don't stand off him like we've stood off a few strikers recently.
I kind of feel like everything we say in these previews are just the exact thing that's going to happen now. You're pointing it out quite rightly, what could happen, and it will.
Well, I may as well go to the right wing back then, hadn't I? Because I don't normally get the chance to watch opposition pre-match press conferences, but obviously we're recording this on a Thursday night. Usually we've recorded previews earlier in the week. So I happened to catch Gary Bowyer's pre-match press conference, and they were doing quite a bit on Kyron Lofthouse. Used to play for Barnsley. Don't know why he's playing for Burton and not Luton, but it's obviously one that slipped through the net. But I noticed that he said that he's got 10 assists and 4 goals this season in all competitions. So I thought, blimey, where does he play? So he plays right wing back. So obviously he's crossing the ball an awful lot from right wing back onto Beasley's head, presumably. And there it is. But anyone who's got 4 goals from right wing back is obviously getting forward a fair bit. So, we need to keep some tabs on him. So that'll be our left back's role. So that's a key matchup because he looked good against West Ham on Saturday. Again, didn't play at the same time as Luton. I was watching the Burton West Ham game on the way down to Cardiff, and he stood out then. Tall guy, got a bit of physicality, got a bit of presence about him. Trying to liken him to someone else that I've seen. I suppose you'd say maybe like Hakeem Odoffin. Oh, where's he gone? Like him, perhaps something of that range. But clearly, he's got end product. 10 assists, 4 goals this season for a side that are 5th from bottom.
I mean, right now they sound like stats to die for, don't they?
They do, yeah. They do. They like to get it forward, Burton. We saw that, or they tried to show that at their place. They were heavily undermanned at their place, and thank God Charlie Webster's still injured. Otherwise, it really would be a awkward assignment. But they will put the ball in the box. They missed a couple of chances at the back post at their place. They're not stupid. They know where Beasley's going to be. He's going to be at the back post. So we've got to defend our box for once in our lives, and we've just been given a lesson of how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If they really care, these players, now's your time to stand up to it.
Yeah, and they have to, because first goals are obviously a big crutch for Luton. But if they score the first goal at Kenilworth Road on Saturday, I don't think I'm going to like being there.
No, you're not. I don't want Kenilworth Road to be toxic. I don't want Kenilworth Road to be toxic. I want to go and I want to enjoy watching football, but I understand why it is, and it will be toxic from the start, Jimbo, because that was so bad on Wednesday, and to an extent the previous Saturday. Now we cut Luton some slack the previous Saturday because Cardiff are good. They're not good. They're really good. Then you look at the stats of their game against Wimbledon. 17 shots Wimbledon had, 6 on target at Cardiff. So it can be done. So this isn't one of those games where, and I don't want to hear it, and I'm sure I'm not going to hear it in the press conferences, that the crowd need to support the players. If the players want support on Saturday, they've got to come out of the blocks and show that they're up for the game. Because people are going to be going in there apathetic. The season's finished. We're just going because it's what we do on a Saturday afternoon for the social element, because I've already got my season ticket, so I've paid for it. it's down to the players now to show that those words that Jack used, and he's used it twice, courage, care, and all of this is amongst all of them, rather than just the one or two usual suspects. The suspects that came over at the end and got a load of abuse in their faces, which, was completely understandable, even though not nice. They've got to do the groundwork on Saturday, not the fans. They need to get the fans back on side.
Yeah, they do. We have to try and keep the home comforts going because that's all we've got. Unfortunately, the 2 games in the trophy, if we can get past Plymouth, there's another home game at Kenilworth Road. And if you're subscribed to the same belief as us that the league season's over, then it's almost a dress rehearsal for the trophy game. Will it make up for not getting promoted? Of course not, but it's still a day out at Wembley. If we can get there with a trophy at the end of it, you'll still have a great day if you win it. A totally different situation from the last time we got into the final of that competition because we were screwed over by the powers that be. And so there was a siege mentality. We haven't got that anymore, sadly.
Wouldn't mind a mentality, Jimbo, let alone the siege mentality. Do you know what I mean? Let's bring this over to Luton because obviously, I was going to say it's a big game. It's not a big game really, is it? Tuesday night's now the bigger game. He's not going to rest people for Tuesday night, is he? Of course he's not, in his own mind. And I suspect from the powers that be, he's still being told that promotion is the aim. 4 points behind with a game in hand. I can see it. Even if we get in the playoffs, we're not going to win the semi-final, which involves an away leg, as do I. But, there it is. But we do need, from this point, we do need to build something so that we can take into next season. And by doing that, we need to build up a bank of results, a bank of belief, a bank of confidence, a bank of positivity. So there is still a little bit to play for in that regard, even if it doesn't yield a 6th or higher position in the league table. So, we need to go at this kind of all guns blazing, but at the same time, if the team sheet's anywhere near similar, I think people will just, they haven't announced it. I would imagine there's going to be the old 50% off beer and stuff ahead of the game because it generally is when results have been crap this season. People might stay and keep on having some beer, I think, because I think people have had enough, particularly in them fullback positions.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to see. If Izzy Jones is your right back, then play him as your right back because, it's not been working. You've made changes for things that supposedly weren't working, but focused on the attacking players. Well, we keep conceding goals. We keep losing 1-0 on the road. 4 times out of the last 5, 1-0. We can't score. Can't keep them out. Yeah, it's a different story at home, isn't it? Or it has been. But that was a deep psychological blow, I think, at Wigan. So whether that has an effect, we'll see. But I think that you've got to play those players that you think you are going to move forward for. And is Longway going to be one of those players? He's on loan, so presumably not. Izzy Jones is your player. He's stated as your right back, so play him as your right back. Get Shaden Morris on as well. Codger can't sit on the bench again. Get him on.
You're promising
all
me
the firepower.
You're promising me a good time here, Jimbo.
Oh, well, that's what everyone wants. Everyone just wants a good time, don't we? Because it's today. It was Thursday. After that game, I went out in Luton. I've had the week off. I went out in Luton, and it could be a psychological thing, but the town just felt pissed off. No, didn't have any altercations with anyone, didn't have any run-ins with anyone for that to happen. It's just the general vibe I got. There didn't seem to be anyone about. Half-term week, by the way. So I took my kids out. Didn't seem to be anyone in town, really. Maybe that's the rain. God knows it's rained for bloody 40 days and 40 nights, it feels like, isn't it? Could be that, but it does seem, and maybe it's in my own brain, it does seem something like, when the football team does well, the town does well. And when it doesn't, and I love Luton, You know that. But yeah, today was...
Do we do that word again? Sobering?
Sure. So, yeah, sobering.
It's fast becoming the word of 2026, isn't it? Sobering. Listen, changes are going to happen on Saturday. They're absolutely obsessed with minutes here, there, and resting people and peak performance and all this, that, and the other that we've already subjected at Exeter and other places. So he's not going to play a team on Wednesday night and play the same team on Saturday. It just seems to be an impossibility of football players to play 2 times in 72 hours. So there will be changes. And who knows, maybe that's why Codger and Joe Johnson were left out on Wednesday night with an eye on this game, because we're so good that we can rest players against anyone and still beat them. Ha ha ha. So I would, well, listen, would I be surprised if Joe Johnson's not in the team? No, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Johnson's not in the team. All along I've thought the second that he opened the door for Cal Naismith to come back, Cal Naismith would be straight back in the side, and lo and behold, there it was. But I'd be amazed if Codger's not in the team. Absolutely amazed if Codger's not in the team. I'd be amazed if we go 4-4-2. And disappointed if we go 4-4-2, to be quite honest with you. That 4-2-3-1's worked all right at home. Not broke, don't fix it, blah, 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 blah. Back four, if I'm picking it, and this ain't the back four that I'd want, but it's only the back four that I think we've got, would be Johnson, Mengi, Anderson, who, let me just say, Anderson, I just mentioned that he gave up in that injury time bit, but actually in the 90 minutes of normal time was our best outfield player last night. I don't know what the switch around was all about, why he suddenly played left centre-half and Mengi suddenly played right centre-half. I don't know if that's us getting funky or whatever it is, but he was good, but he did give up in injury time. But they're still the best 2 centre-halves that we've got. And then Jones at right back. And then in front of them, I would go Palmer. And I don't even care if he's fit or not. I'd go Sandal, because he can't be any worse. Then Codger, Richards and Morris. And Cole. And if it means Jordan Clark's on the bench, it means Jordan Clark's on the bench. But those 3, Codger, Richards, Morris, are the 3 I want this team built around now. They're our players. 2 of them are really young. I can't remember Morris's age, but I don't think he's particularly old.
23, I think.
23. So those are 3 players that we can build our future around. Devante Cole will be up front because he's Jack's only investment up front. I'm fine with that. Casey Palmer will obviously be in midfield because he's still doing all right there. Yes, he gave the ball away a few times last night, but, find me a person in that hideous green shirt that didn't. Sandow, he's our player. He's our future. Jordan Clark, even if he plays for the rest of the season, at some point we are going to have to phase this guy out of our team. He is 32, not getting any younger, even though he's nowhere near the worst player on the pitch. Worst player on the pitch in home games, that is. And until you can find 2 centre-halves, it's going to have to be them 2. But it can't be them 2 for much longer. They just can't defend a box.
No, but if you're going with your theory of let's try and outscore them, then
absolutely.
It shouldn't really matter. And with those 3 behind Cole, then yeah, I'm fully on board with that. That strikes me as a team that I'd be quite happy with.
Young players who think forward, who are fast, they're energetic, they're pacey. They don't necessarily need the ball. They'll go and get the ball. Certainly Richards and Codger will. And Morris tries to hog the touchline, and that's fine. That's his role. No, nothing at all about Sandal. He might be the next coming of Xavi. He might be a Sunday League footballer for all I know, but he can't be no worse than who's been in that midfield over the last 2 games. Fit or not, can't be no worse.
Well, yeah, and certainly the last time we heard about him, he said that he wasn't going to need an under-21 game. So presumably he's almost there, ready, fit, playing.
Can't be no worse. And definitely Johnson and Jones at fullback. And if it's not Johnson, if Johnson really has peeved you off, put Harry Fox in. You trusted him in a trophy game. This is a nothing game. Go with him. He looked all right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're of the mindset that the season's over. I don't think they are.
This is the team I'm picking.
Yeah.
I fully expect Cal Naismith to be left back on Saturday. Fully expect it. I fully expect Nigel Longwaite to be right back on Saturday. Why wouldn't he be? He's been picked there in every single game that Jack's played in the league, despite us having Izzy Jones for the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. Well, can we go with your mystery choice first, Flynn, please?
Well, I really hope that we do. Yeah. Because we've got to beat these with pace, right? We saw at their place, that we beat them with pace. Zach Nelson had a worldie of a game there. Kodja was lively. Millie Ali was lively down the left-hand side. Kodja was lively down the right-hand side. I think one crossed for the ball to come out to the edge of the box for Millie Ali to score. It's not the same goalkeeper, unfortunately. They've found someone with hands this time. So it's the Bradley Collins we've come up against in God knows how many times. Used to play for Forest Green, used to play for Barnsley, many other sides. Coventry as well, I think was another one. So know all about him. He's better. He's better than the goalkeeper they had at their place. But we beat them down the sides, didn't we? And that is the way to beat them. They've got a back three, double them up, out wide. And it's a shame Cohen Bramwell's not fit, because he'd be absolute dynamite against this right-sided geezer to push him back, because if he's got all the numbers that he's got, we want him as far away from our goal as possible, and Bramwell does that. Joe Johnson doesn't really do that, hence why he goes into the midfield. So it's on Kodja to push him back, assuming that he starts. But yeah, we've got to attack the wide areas and go at them with pace. It's not hard. It's what we had to do on Wednesday. We didn't. But that is how you beat a back three. Do you know how I know that? Because every time we played the back three, that's exactly how we got beat.
Yep, agreed. We've seen that one too many times. There's just simply got to be a reaction, hasn't there? Regardless of whether we think the season's over, there's got to be a reaction. Can't put in 14 more shocking performances just because of that. There has to be a bridge to the next season to give you some hope. And yeah, that's not where we wanted to be at this time. It's in February. We didn't want to be here.
No, we didn't. If these players really do care and really want to be here, and aren't one of the players that supposedly left because they didn't want to be here, then it's time to stand up and show it, isn't it? In fact, it's time to stand up and show it Saturday and next Saturday at Port Vale, because I don't think people will go to away games if we don't beat Port Vale. Why would you? Other than, like I said earlier, people just going for a social. If you've got friends to see or whatever.
Well, yeah, and all credit to the people that do. You and 600 that went yesterday at Wigan. Because that's a hard assignment. A half-term week.
4 days after Cardiff.
Half-term week, if you've got kids, that's, unless you're taking your kids with you, but if you're not and they're staying behind in Luton or Bedfordshire and you're going up there to watch that, first of all, credit to you.
Listen, power court's a good thing for this football club, right? This football club needs power court. But if we don't rebuild some positivity to replace this apathy, then that stadium last night, to an extent Cardiff Stadium on Saturday, going a little bit further back, Reading, is exactly what it's like. It's what it's going to be like in power court. It's going to be circa 8,000 or 9,000 in a 25,000 seater stadium, and it's going to feel soulless. With all the work that they're doing to try and maintain the acoustics and everything else, that acoustics is being maintained for a near capacity stadium, and it just won't be, because people have had enough of watching the people have lost the pride in their football club. And you mentioned it earlier, I think, that there was it's that quote, isn't it? Perceived disconnect, which was obviously what Gary gave me when I challenged him on it. It's not. There is. If you still think it's a perceived disconnect, you need to wake up and smell some coffee. It is a complete and utter disconnect. Yeah, and again, the invitation for him to come on is absolutely here. But it was here 3 weeks ago, and we're still waiting.
Yeah, I mean, I sense that. I'd love to have it backed up by some statistical data. I don't know if that's even possible. Like, because obviously most of it comes, and we're aware of it mostly from social media, and how much of a percentage that group of social media, regulars, how much that equates to, the rest of the population of the supporter base. I don't know. My only theory on that would be that they think that that's only a small percentage of people that are very vocal. And it might be, but it's still significant enough, I believe, that it needs to be taken seriously.
I mean, if they do think that, let me tell you, it's not. I speak to plenty of people on concourses of away games. Plenty of people. Because you have to get there early to get parked in these divisions. I speak to plenty of you. I spoke to plenty of you last night. I just shouted out a few of you a minute ago. It isn't. It is not a perceive. I wouldn't have said it if it was. It is an absolute bona fide disconnect between fans and the boardroom. They might think themselves as fans, and I'm not saying they're not fans. I'm not saying that for one minute. I never would do. I would never tell Wilco he's not a fan of this football club. He's a fan of this football club twice as long as I've been. But the fans that are paying their money to watch this football team week in, week out are disconnected from the very people that they were connected to for so long on the way up and during that Premier League season. Now, whether they want to listen to it or not, I'm telling you, it is there.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, I agree with you. I believe that to be true, but I believe that that's just me and my feelings rather than what I'm saying. I'd love to, if there was any statistical data that backed it up. I'd love it.
The only statistical data that back it up is attendances, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had less than 10,000 against Blackpool. I think it was Blackpool. Yeah, it was Blackpool, wasn't it? Less than 10,000. Now, in a couple of weeks' time, we go to Wickham. I've never been to Wickham and that away end not be sold out. You could sell that away end out twice because it's a piece of cake to get to. It's a pain in the ass to get out of, but it's a piece of cake to get to. If we don't sell that away end on a Saturday at 3 p.m, that will tell you. The tickets sold for that game will tell you where we're at. Because right now, I don't think we come close to selling that out. I think it holds about 1,800. I'd be amazed if 1,000 go.
Okay, well then that would be a piece of tangible data and evidence that you could apply to that theory, and then I'd feel more that I wasn't just making it up out of my own brain. I don't think I am, but that's how my brain works. I want to have a theory and test it, and if it proves true, great, and if it doesn't, then you have to discard that regardless of how you feel about it. I know that's very difficult in the modern climate, but that's how you should do it.
Should be a barrister, Jimbo. You're all for the evidence, aren't you?
Sucker for the evidence, mate. And some people don't like that. I think I've got splinters in my arse, but I like the evidence and a bit of balance sometimes. But hey, so there you go.
Right, the evidence will be coming, mate. I'm absolutely sure of that, unless the results take a drastic turn or we actually get some communication. People are also suckers for your reverse psychology for the win, Jimbo. And obviously it's time for your little jingle. And afterwards, I've got a question for you.
Jimbo, master of reverse psychology.
Are we at the stage where reverse psychology for the win is you picking a win?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Well, I've got it right quite recently, haven't I? That unfortunately, I've got some lovely points on our little match-up between each other.
That's disappeared, actually.
Yeah, what's the score?
I've no idea. Mate, I don't even know what day of the week it is, let alone the score. I mean,
I think I might be in front. Yeah, the old reverse psychology for the win. Yeah, sod it. Yeah, listen, the season's over. Reverse psychology for the win. Luton to win 1-0.
I thought we were getting there if we weren't there already, but folks, we are absolutely there. I don't think we win this game, to be quite honest with you. 1-1. Let them prove us both wrong.
That's what we're here for. I want to be proved wrong.
Yeah, we do.
Actually.
Haven't got the leaderboard updated, I'm afraid. I didn't get home till the early hours this morning and work's taken over and things like that. We will get that leaderboard posted before the Port Vale game when we do the preview of that just to let you know when podcasts are coming out, we will review the Burton game on Sunday night as we normally do. We will offer a slight preview to the trophy game, and we will do a full preview to the Port Vale game, and then we will review the trophy game and the Port Vale game in one podcast. We're not going to edit a full podcast with regards to the trophy game, and we'll work out, if we're in the semi-finals, we'll work out what we do around that.
Totally jump on the bandwagon is what we do.
Is that it?
Yes.
Bandwagon it up. Bandwagon us up.
I said it from the first game of the trophy that I'm not interested in until the final stages, and then get me on that bandwagon.
In that case, we'll definitely do a full preview of that trophy game, but it's a Wednesday, and we've got a big league game against Reading on the Saturday, so we might just review the two in one, but we'll definitely do a preview of the semi-final so that we can just record a preview for the Reading game win in good enough time. But we'll see how we do against Plymouth before we worry about that. Subscribe, hit the notifications, make sure that the notifications are turned on, and you'll find out exactly where all our content is, and hopefully it'll be positive. Just for a disclaimer, I was more than happy to come on this podcast and talk about chocolate, but we couldn't get no chocolate. How is my Donald? I went into a shop to buy some celebrations. We were going to chew the fat over what the best celebration chocolate is, which is obviously Maltesers, just for the record,
Agreed.
and what the worst chocolate in a celebrations tub is, which also for the record is a Bounty.
That might have been a hotter debate than what we've had.
I found every single chocolate known to man in the local shop, every Easter egg known to man, but I couldn't find no celebrations.
Well, yeah, how is your luck? I vetoed it a bit. I'm sorry if you wanted us to talk about chocolate. I wasn't feeling the chocolate today. So we've just done that. And can I just say, I apologise. That has been, if you've got this far, you're the real ones, because that felt like a very depressive episode. Sorry.
Just on that though, if Port Vale goes pear-shaped, let us know what you want to talk about. We will not talk about football after Port Vale if we don't win.
Yeah, we'll put answers on a postcard or in the comments. That's how it works these days, isn't it? Stick it in there.
Stick it in.
What should we talk about? I've got something to talk about that I'll briefly talk about, just because, the football wasn't fun to talk about, but I had at the weekend, it was a very good weekend for Luton music, and I would urge you all to go to Luton Irish band called Missing the Ferry, their YouTube page. They've done a song called Luton, You're a Lady, all about the good things about Luton. It includes a line about Ricky Hill, so there's a Luton Town Football Club link. I think you'll like it. They had a premiere release party at the Four Horseshoes on Sunday, which was packed. And it's a good old jig, that song. So have a look at that. That might cheer you up. I'll put the link to the video in the show notes for this, so you can go and have a listen, because that was a lot of fun. And the day before that, there was a good night at the castle, which I told you about previously, that you should have gone to. So if you missed that one, pay attention to me next time.
Thank God the music scene in Luton's thriving, because football team isn't right now, is it? Certainly not away from home. And we are sorry that we've put together yet another depressive podcast, but we'll never dress up something that can't be dressed up, Jimbo.
I mean, don't get at me if you thought I was feeling miserable, because I was. Actually, what I was hoping, which has always been the case since we started doing this on videos, that when it's bad, I can come in and have a natter with you, and it lifts the mood a bit. And I've got a little bit of smile on my face now, but not for the first 45 minutes of that. But so it does help. It is good to talk, as Mark has said when he's been on the podcast and stuff like that. So on that front, I think it's good. I'm 45 years old now. The only way I get to see my mates is do podcasts with them.
The only way I get to see him is go to the football with them, and look what happens then. Do you know what? Football day is blinding either side of the football.
Exactly. There you go. Go for the show.
Let's hope it changes. Yeah, thanks to everyone who's watched this episode of the podcast. I mean, ultimately, we did talk about things that you guys have referenced in our comments to my all too immediate instant reaction, and the preview and everything else. So hopefully we've clarified some of those comments. I will do an instant reaction after the Burton game, and hopefully it'll be slightly longer and slightly more positive than Wednesday night's one. Yeah, you don't want another 15-second one, do you? Well, you do,
I
don't
don't
you?
know. You tell us. Would you rather the 15-second reaction?
It does say
Could become a new thing.
It does say something that the reaction to that instant reaction was much greater than some of the other ones that I've done that have actually had some content and context to them. But then again, it just shows, doesn't it, that what I saw is what everyone else saw, and that's all we can do.
I don't think you can disagree with it. There's not enough words for you to disagree with, for a start.
No, there wasn't. Thanks to the folks here at Marsh House, the new home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. We really appreciate your support, guys, particularly when we're in here most days this week. And to Sean Grant and our Wolfgang for our intro music. Until next time, where we will review what is hopefully Town getting back to winning ways with a good performance to boot against Burton. From Jimbo and myself, just win, Town. Just win, please.